On to this now. The World Health Organization has endorsed the trial testing of traditional African medicines as potential treatment for COVID-19, as well as other contemporary diseases. The Phase 3 clinical trial will assess the safety and efficacy of new products. You'll remember the president of Madagascar brought traditional medicine under the spotlight after a bid to promote a drink he claimed cured COVID-19. We get you more details about this World Health Organization endorsement from Dr. Ossi Casilo, who joins us from Congo, Brazzaville. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for joining us. Quite an exciting development on your part, and very welcomed. So essentially, what does this mean?
First of all, this protocol, you know, of course, we understand the diversity of the different cultures and tradition in the region. It only means that the countries which will have agreed to participate in this multi-country studies will join the investigators to conduct the clinical trials. But firstly, we have 47 WHO offices which will help in following up the countries which have agreed to be part of this study. And this is important because, as you know, the COVID cases are reducing in many countries, and it is only through the multi-center studies that we can have sufficient numbers of patients. And secondly, the patients will also not be recruited directly because of these different diversities and cultures in the region. For example, in West Africa, the investigators must go through the chiefs to explain the benefits and shortcomings of the studies. The chiefs will explain to the community and through their internal rules and procedure, select the candidates from the communities who will take part in the study. And thirdly, the investigators will have to respect the national regulations and peculiarities. For instance, the ethics committee will have to approve the ethical aspects and technical content of the protocols, and the national medicines regulatory authorities will have to approve where the study sites, where the clinical trials will take place. And fourthly, the World Health Organization and Africa CDC at regional level and continental level will be responsible for the overall oversight of the studies to ensure that the expert committee conducts trains the countries or investigators in some elements of the protocol to familiarize themselves, and also will ensure that the data and safety monitoring board or committee, which is another independent committee which will be responsible for monitoring the results of the study, does its work. And that will ensure that the protocol has been accepted by the national regulatory authorities as well as the ethics committee. All these processes taking into account that the patients are there before the study can commence. So it's still a process that the protocols have to go through before the countries can start, but all this will be accelerated because we are already in touch with our 47 WHO country offices. We are already in communication with some of the countries that will take part in this study. So it should not take long so that we take advantage of the COVID to have sufficient numbers, and also, most importantly, to have a product that can cure the pandemic. Thank you.
This is about not only the coronavirus, but beyond that, in terms of the role of traditional African medicines on the continent. You talk about it being a process and it being a process that will be accelerated. What are we looking at in terms of timelines? You rightfully mentioned that we are a diverse continent with a number of countries having joined this, but what are we looking at? Are you able to give us perhaps timelines?
The timeline would depend actually when the studies will commence. but we are looking at from the time the studies commence, within 12 months, we should be able to get, some results regarding, the safety, efficacy, and quality of these medicines. And we are hoping that by next month, the studies will commence, in some countries. We've been also working already with the Scientific Committee of Madagascar to prepare the country for the phase 3 clinical trial. But of course, this will build on the results. If there are robust results of phase 2 that the country has done, then we will be able to continue with the phase 3. However, if these results are not robust enough, then they have to continue with phase 3 until the results will be acceptable for phase 3 clinical trial, because it must be built on this. It is unethical to conduct phase 3 clinical trials without phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials, and the results have to be robust. Thank you.
We appreciate that it's going to be a process that is quite lengthy. However, there's also a question that pops up, that what is taking us so long? If you look at the Chinese traditional medicines market doing very well and thriving, the Asian traditional medicines market doing well and thriving, when it comes to the African traditional medicines market, where is the resistance?
Okay, firstly, I should say that it has not taken long actually to develop these protocols, because these are technical international protocols whose finalization has cumbersome processes to be followed before the protocols can be internationally acceptable for use to generate robust data on the safety, efficacy, and quality. These processes include peer review, both internally and externally, and our review, to our point of view, and the experts, is that the process has not taken long, at least to develop these protocols. But as far as traditional medicine commercialization is concerned, actually there's a lot that is happening, only that the majority of the people, they are not aware about this. Since WHO was established in 1948, it has been supporting countries to establish policies, strategies, and plans to integrate traditional medicine in national health systems. And the countries today are at different stages of development. Now, with regards to the products, at continent, so it's not only recognized traditional medicine at global level, at continental level, you will recall that the heads of state and government declared in 2001 in Lusaka the first decade of African traditional medicine. This after 10, which was 2001-2010. In 2011 May, they reviewed the report that was prepared, and they looked at the challenges which the countries were still encountering, and therefore they declared the second decade of African traditional medicine from 2011-2020, and this year is the end of the second decade, and we have information to the fact that the third decade will be declared. Now, this the 2 decades had plans of action which included local manufacturing, research and development, regulation, policies, social mobilization, intellectual property rights, etc. And these were priority interventions are very similar to the regional strategy on traditional medicine, which was adopted by the Ministers of Health in 2000. And therefore, in the past 20 years, to date, we have 40 countries that have developed national policies as compared to only 8 in 2000. We have 34 countries that are solely focusing research on traditional medicine as compared to 18 in 2000. We have 39 countries that have developed legal frameworks for the practice of traditional medicine as compared to only 1 in 2000. And we have over 90 herbal medicines which have been registered by national regulatory authorities in 14 countries, and over 40 of these products have been included in national essential medicines list, meaning that they've been added to the arsenal of pharmaceutical products to improve access to medicines in those countries where they are produced, and some of these are being actually commercialized.
There are countries, Dr. Kasilo, which are quite progressive where this issue is concerned, but there are some who still have to get with the program, because I think there's something that happens between policy making and implementation on the ground. You walk into a pharmacy, it's still a long way away from finding some traditional African medicines. You mentioned that it should be internationally acceptable. Please forgive my simple thinking, but why should we wait for international acceptance?
We are not waiting for international, just to say that whether it is traditional medicine or is conventional medicine, the World Health Organization criteria for safety, efficacy, and quality is the same. And this is an international criteria which the whole world is following. And therefore, it means that traditional medicine have also to go through a rigorous process of scientific research to generate the safety, efficacy, and quality of these medicines so that they can be integrated into national health systems. Also, it means that the traditional medicine practitioners or traditional health practitioners or traditional healers and their practices has to be integrated into national health systems. This means that the products have to be safe, effective, and of good quality as determined by the national regulatory authorities who follow the international standards and regulatory requirements of their countries. And second, it means that practitioners, the practice has to be effective, has to be safe, and should not be harmful to the population. For this to happen, it means that traditional medicine practitioners have to be trained. They have to be licensed. They have to be recognized by the government through establishment of legal frameworks for the practice of traditional medicine, and they need to be empowered as well as engaged with the government, meaning that they need to be involved with primary healthcare activities. Now, at this time of COVID, it means that traditional medicine practitioners have to be trained to detect the cases of COVID and refer these cases immediately to health facilities for case management. And they can contribute effectively if they are well informed and well trained, because we have more traditional health practitioners as an important resource which is not normally utilized. And they can be good messengers to public health messages if they are empowered with skills, information, and knowledge. They can go to all the communities where we cannot go. So it is very important that this resource is empowered to be able to effectively contribute to the prevention of the pandemic. But the governments need to protect them and protect their clients by providing the personal protective equipment to these practitioners.
Dr. Ossie Kasilo from the World Health Organization joining us from Congo, Brazzaville. Thank you for your time this afternoon.